long before civilized cities emerged, long before settlements were formed, art was very simple. Art that began from the cave paintings and evolved over time, as I spoke in my previous videos. Um, Art was very simple that correlated with the humans that existed at that time. Welcome back to my channel where I speak about the history of art and I try to connect it with the evolution of the human mind. Today I would like to speak about a site that was discovered in what we know as Cyprus today, Khirokitia. I hope I pronounce it right. But this site is, I want to talk about this site in terms of the timeline and correlate it with the art of the similar timelines. Now, this site is was constructed in the similar circular fashions. The settlements were circular in nature, and it dated to be somewhere between 10,000 to 8,000 years old. In one of my previous videos, I spoke about Göbekli Tepe. In this site as well, it was constructed in circular fashion, and in that site, I spoke that it was constructed for reasons other than food, shelter, and clothing. It can be believed that it was a spiritual place. The humans of that time were hunter-gatherer, but instead of forming civilized settlements, they constructed this site to use for purposes other than shelter. Maybe it was to tell the exact time. Maybe they understood the phases of the stars and the moons better than what we give them credit to. Maybe it was a site for rituals. Maybe they performed rituals before, maybe they buried their loved ones. Maybe it was a place where they gathered together and worshipped or perform certain spiritual activities. It could be one of these, it could be all of these, we don't know. But the location and the construction of that site was definitely not for habitation. Similarly, in one of my videos, I spoke about the Jericho site, where also the unique feature was when they excavated it, they found buried within the homes of people skulls. When they unearthed these skulls, most of the families, they within their huts or their homes, they had buried one or maybe more than one skull were unearthed, and some of them were, you could tell that after burying the skull for a while, they unearthed it, they covered it with plaster and buried it again, and the body was discovered in a different location. That led to the belief that the humans of that site preserved these skulls in a way to honor their ancestors or elderly loved family member, a ritualistic understanding. It could be that. So this leads to understanding that maybe the humans of that time were spiritually more advanced. Why do I want to connect this with the Khirokitia site? Is because similar skulls were discovered buried in each home, buried within each home, and when they were unearthed, the skulls were preserved. Now, the two sites are way apart. The timeline is the same, 8,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. I mean, if you're comparing art, yeah, 1,000 and 2,000 years is a long time, but to understanding the development of the human mind for that time, it it was not as advanced as the way we are evolving today. Today, in 10 years, I think we are advancing 100 years ahead. But for that time, in that time period, at different locations on the globe, similar preserved art, it's not art, pulling out skulls is not art, but preserved practices were found in similar timelines. That is, to me, a connection to art. There is nothing artistic, there's no decoration or anything like that, but the human brain evolved similarly in that timeline. That is what I wanted to discuss today and compare it with the Jericho site and Göbekli Tepe, because to me, I feel the humans globally around that timeline were spiritually highly evolved than we give them credit. Maybe they saw things, maybe say they understood things way better than some of us understand today, because of uh, the raw freedom that they had. So I wanted to connect these dots today and share that information. If you like this channel and this sort of information, do stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, share this channel to someone who would find this topic interesting. And let's continue this journey of art on this channel. Thank you for staying tuned today.